What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So our last event was Cletus McFarland's Burnout Night over at the Freedom Factory in Bradenton, Florida. Now we're getting all dialed in to go to Iron Horse Mud Ranch over in Perry, Florida. Now I get asked quite a bit, like, what do you got to do to the truck in between the different events? Well, it really depends on what events it is that we're doing. Last like 5 events that we've done were kind of show type events. Like we had the truck tugs over at the barn in Sanford. I think before that was actually Daytona Truck Meet. The truck sat for a couple months in between events, so there wasn't a whole lot going on. But we had truck shows, truck tugs, stuff like that. Truck doesn't really get all that dirty. It's part of the reason why the crew loves those events, because we don't really have to do a whole lot to it when it's done. As opposed to a mud event, we're spending hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours cleaning all the mud off of this thing. Now, luckily, I got very good friends, and they come bogging with me. They come cleaning with me. Pretty awesome. Good motto we live by. But after those events, obviously, we're pressure washing for tons of time. We're soaking it in Simple Green. We're soaking it in off-road wash. It's a big pain in the butt. In between a mud event and a show event, we wash the truck literally like 4 or 5 different times. But anyways, to get ready for Iron Horse, we're gonna face plates off the center of the wheels. I'm gonna take the wheel face plates off back there. Actually, I think that's about all we got to do. I have gone ahead and I've been messing with the fluids a little bit here and there. I gave the truck an engine oil change like last week and changed out the fluid in my center case and the SCS drop box. Nice pretty machine drop box right there made by SCS. Oh man, she's pretty. But and I checked all the fluids in the running gear. I usually don't mess with the running gear fluids all that much in between those type events, like those show or truck tug type stuff, because you're not getting a whole bunch of water and mud and crap all up in there. But I have found that if I leave it sit after a mud event where we're going through a lot of water and a lot of mud, that stuff gets gnarly as hell. So we do swap out the fluids after a mud event. But really, I think we just got to take some faceplates off, and then there's some little like maintenance type things that I got to take care of. One thing I did notice actually right before the barn truck tugs was I've got an issue going on with my intercooler pipe. So I've got a Banks aftermarket intercooler pipe, like it's an oversized one, and I sent it over to Mikey's Custom Coatings, and he color matched that thing to match the freaking side of the truck. It's that nice pretty blue. How cool is that? Oh man, sweet. So anyways, when I was putting that back on, I realized that there was a nice rip in that intercooler boot. It wasn't all the way through. It's only through like maybe about 1/3 of the layers. It is, of course, for concern, especially with all that boost we start getting. You get them bald eagles, them Duramax bald eagles, just screeching. You get the turbo whistling. You get all that pressure. Just, oof, it's a real deal. So we get all that pressure building up. There's likelihood that thing's going to go, whoosh, and there goes all of our pressure, and there goes all of our boost, and there goes all of our power, and there goes our weekend. Don't want that to happen. So I got to swap that out. And the only other thing that I wanted to mess with before we go to another event was my, what would be considered like the pressure switch? Yeah, it's a pressure switch. It comes on and off with pressure. Yeah, it's a pressure switch. How about that? So I got to swap out the pressure switch on my nitrous tank. Now, what I've got on there is a bottle warmer, because I've noticed it actually makes a tremendous amount of difference on how that nitrous really affects the truck. When it's really cold outside or raining and stuff like that, with where the bottle is mounted, I've got it in the bed of the truck. I put that bottle warmer on there, and it keeps the bottle at optimum pressure. Basically, what it will do is turn the heating element on. Once the bottle reaches optimum pressure, it'll shut the heating element back off. Once the bottle gets cold and the pressure goes down, it turns it back on. It keeps it right in there regulated. Otherwise, if you didn't have one of those automatic ones, it would just leave the heating element on, and you might get a little too much pressure in your bottle. Could burst the disc, lose all your nitrous, dumps it in the air, which might look kind of cool, but not very cost effective. So I got to swap out that pressure switch. Then we should be ready to rock and roll and head on over to Iron Horse Mud Ranch. God, that's a badass event. If y'all haven't been there, don't take your buddy's word for it. You need to go. You need to check it out, 100%. They got badass truck tugs going on. They got all kinds of neat stuff. Well, now that I've done enough yakking, I'm going to go ahead and get this thing dialed in so we are ready to go next week and get her all loaded up and on the road and headed to Iron Horse Mud Ranch. Tell you what. So if y'all didn't have a chance to check out my video from when we went to the truck tugs over at the barn, or I don't know if I'm going to make a video from the Freedom Factory. I didn't really video a lot of stuff, so I don't know if I got enough to do a video. But anyways, check out how super bitchin' the engine bay is starting to look. That engine fire that we had at Plant Bamboo a couple months ago cooked all those wires, cooked a lot of hoses, so I ended up redoing a whole bunch of stuff. But look how much more super bitchin' it looks. And everything's got flame shield on it. Thank you, Mr. Adrenaline. Always looking out for me. Bam, look at that. Oh, and that's my intercooler pipe that Mikey coated. Bam, look at that sweet blue color. Oh, brother. Real deal. So I'm going to take this boot off. I'm probably going to have to take the silencer off to get to it a little better. But then this boot right here is what's got a rip in it. So I want to go ahead and get that replaced so I do not have any issues in the middle of the mud park. All right, so I just got the boot off. Bam. So, oh, there we go. Get a little natural daylight action. Boom. Yeah, she was on her last leg for sure. And it's like super soft right there. I bet it was blowing up like a balloon every time I got any kind of boost going. But she held together, didn't you, girl? So I was gonna keep this boot as a spare, but this thing looks like a big piece of junk. So I think I'm gonna throw her on out and keep my secondary one as a spare. And this one's gonna go right in the garbage. So time to put the new boot on. Be ready to rock and roll, getting some new boost flow. Yeah, see, check it out. This one had seen some better days. Tell you what. So. Ta-da! Good as new, brother. Brand new upper intercooler boot. Now I gotta put the silencer back on. Done. Good to go. All right, now that I got that boot replaced a couple days ago, I'm gonna kind of tinker around with stuff, try to get the truck the rest of the way dialed in as I got time. Can't do it all at once because I got too much other stuff going on. So now the next step is to get all of our super spiffy face plates off. Man, them things are cool. Look at that. You can see Killing It Lifestyle rather. You know where I got those? Mr. Adrenaline himself. I tell you what, God, he's so good to me. So I'm gonna get all them removed. And while I'm doing that, I think I'm gonna double check all the fluid and all of the planetaries. Make sure everything's topped off, because if you've seen that other video, it was months and months ago, actually I think it was like last year, one of them planetaries did not have any oil in it, and guess what, welded itself right together, and it was kind of hazardous for the health of that axle. Definitely want to have fluid in all of them. So I'm gonna get all the faceplates off, check all the fluids, and then on to the next step. All right, so now we're Monday night. 2 nights before we're supposed to leave for Iron Horse, and I've got some surprise maintenance I gotta do. Actually, thanks to Mr. AJ with Low Key Mega Truck and Bo, Superpower Diesel Bo, real deal, good guys, good guys. They told me it'd probably be a real good idea if I service my drive shafts in between like each event, is what Bo was saying. I don't know if I need to do it quite that often, but I have never done it since we built the truck. What they mean by that, I will show you. So I got 3 drive shafts on the truck, obviously. 1, 2, and 3. Now, the slip yoke is where the problem starts. According to them, I guess AJ just had an issue with his truck where he hadn't been servicing his drive shafts, and these things were binding up a little bit on the inside here, and it wore out this gear in here and made this start to leak fluid out of his case. So I don't want that same problem to happen. So they said I got to do, you got to take all these bolts off of this flange here, pop the drive shaft loose, take this collar off, open the slip yoke up, so you just slide this off, and clean out the interior of that. They said actually I don't even need to go that extent. If I just take these off, if you go and slide it back and forth and make sure that this kind of has some give to it and it's still mobile, then you're good to go. If I really want to get crazy, then I could take this apart, clean this out with some brake cleaner, and then put it back together, fill it back up with grease, good to go. So that is what I'm doing now. So I don't know that I'm going to do all 3. I'm probably going to do all of them, but just because that would freaking suck if that thing broke and I'm like 7 hours away from my house and I can't fix it. So I'm going to go ahead and pop all these off now tonight, double check that they all, I mean, they should be fine, because really I grease these things before every time the truck leaves the house, I fill them with grease. But Bo says it doesn't matter. It's still going to get packed with mud in there. Eventually those get bound up, and yeah, it just causes a lot of nonsense. So that's what I'm working on tonight, brothers and sisters. I'll tell you one something. Well, a little hit with the old trusty air hammer, and that thing is right on off. Now, it's kind of hard to hold the camera and do this, but I'm going to give it a valid attempt. I'm going to give it the old college try. See? See how that's moving? That's good. Well, now that I've taken that one drive shaft apart and that thing is super freaking clean, take a look at this. Now that right there was not the mud hole of a nice kind lady down at the mud park, okay? That was the inside of my yoke. And looks freaking super clean. Nice clean grease in there, no dirt, no mud, doesn't seem gritty. So I went and reconvened with the mad scientist. He is in agreement with me that I don't need to take apart the other 2 drive shafts, because that thing is super spotless. So chances are the other ones are super spotless too. So maybe gamble. If I get bored later, maybe I'll take the other ones apart. But as of right now, we're on a time crunch trying to get the Iron Horse. So I'm not going to be messing with those today. Now, the next item on the agenda is to get all these wheel face plates off. They are, well, they usually are pretty. They look kind of crappy at the moment. because I went mud bogging with them. Polished aluminum just don't mix well with mud. You're basically sandblasting it every time you drive through anything. But anyways, got to pull all these off. So now that I got the faceplates off, we can see they look super grody. Let me show you. Bam. Yeah, those things are definitely not killing it. Luckily, my buddy Danny over at R&E Concepts is going to buff them up for us and make them look super bitchin'. He does a great job on everything on Mr. Adrenaline's truck, so we'll see what he can do with these nasty things. And would you look at that? Day of the event, sun ain't even up yet, and guess who's loaded on the trailer, ready to rock and roll? Boom, ready to head over to Iron Horse Mud Park, baby. Locked in, loaded. So, hopefully gonna be a super bitchin' time. If y'all enjoyed the video, subscribe to our channel. Hit that button right there. While you're at it, hit the like button at the bottom of your screen. You can also check out our website, killin'itlifestyle.com. There you can follow the Killin' It crew and order your own apparel so everyone will know you're super killing it.